Okay, just before the U.S. turn gets started, a couple of corrections to the Japanese moves. The way that we're playing this is we're sending each other the moves beforehand, and I had made a couple of edits to my moves, but the way that we're playing is that we can't do that, apparently. So any moves that I sent to him after my initial moves, I'm going to have to reverse. So here's the moves that get reversed. There was an additional fighter and tac bomber in Japan that will have to land in Guangxi instead. Those were the ones that participated in the Kwangtung attack. Also, the bomber, oh sorry, there should be two there. The bomber, or the air transport, I guess it is now, that participated in the Kwangtung attack is also going to have to land in Guangxi. So those are now correct. So in Japan, there is one attack bomber and two fighters. In Guangxi, there are now 3 fighters and 4 attack bombers and 2 air transports. The other thing that was different, and again, this I guess was a bit too late either, or as well, is I had originally flipped the sub with the destroyer, and I guess that was too late. So in C-Zone 44 there's a destroyer, in C-Zone 42 there's a sub. Okay, that's it, I think. So we'll do U.S. turn 3 now. Okay, this is the U.S. and China, turn 3. China only has 5 IPCs to spend. Obviously, they're going to spend 3 on an infantry, and they're going to save 2 for next round. The Americans have 52 IPCs to spend. They're going to, they rolled a 3 on their tech, so they have to spend $3 on tech, 22 on 2 tactical bombers, 10 on a fighter, 8 on a destroyer, and 9 on 3 infantry. The United States will be declaring war on Germany and Italy this turn, but they won't be making any attacks on either of those 2 powers. The Americans, however, do have an attack in the Pacific. They are going to try and clear out those Japanese blockers in C-Zone 16, and they're coming in with 2 submarines from C-Zone 26, 3 fighters, and a tactical bomber. And the tactical bomber will perform a target select on one of the 2 destroyers. The Chinese have 2 attacks to make. They will be attacking the Japanese troops in Shenxi and Suiyuan. In Shenxi, they're coming in with... Actually, let me just double check this. Hang on one sec. Yes, I got that right. Okay. So 3 infantry from Kansu are going into Shenxi, and 3 infantry and 1 fighter from Kansu are going into Suiyuan. So we'll set up all those dice rolls, and we'll start rolling out the turn. Battle for C-Zone 16. There are air components, 3 fighters and a tactical bomber coming from the aircraft carriers, the Hornet and the Lexington. There are 2 American submarines, SS-197 Seawolf and SS-306 Tang, attacking 2 Japanese destroyers. The Yukikaze and the Akizuki. The TAC will be performing a target select on one of the 2 destroyers. So here we go for that. Hit. So one of the destroyers is taken out of the battle. So this should be a very, very short battle. 2 2s and 3 3s. More than enough hits. So the Japanese do get to fire back with their lone surviving destroyer. and they missed. So the Americans clear the sea zone with no U.S. Navy casualties. Okay, this is the battle for Shenxi. 3 Chinese infantry versus a Japanese infantry. 1 hit, battle's over. The Japanese defend and miss. China takes the territory with no casualties. Alright, battle for Suiyuan. 3 infantry at 1. 1 fighter at 3. All misses. Miss. Fighter hits. And Japan misses. China takes the territory with no casualties. Alright, non-combat moves for the United States. 2 infantry from central United States are going to load onto the strategic bomber, which will be designated an air transport, and those troops will move to Hawaii and land there. Japan only has 1 non-combat move. It's going to land the fighter back in Kansu where it started. In terms of non-combat for the Americans in the Pacific, they are loading up their entire Navy and ground forces in Hawaii and going to Sea Zone 7, which is up here. They will also be landing all of the planes in Sea Zone 7. And in the western United States, they will be loading up 2 infantry, 1 artillery, and 1 mechanized infantry onto their 2 transports, and then the transports and the fully loaded carrier will make their way to Sea Zone 7 as well. So there's going to be a very, very large American naval contingent off the Japanese coast. Okay, so I'll tidy all that up, and then we'll come back with placements and money. Placement for the Americans. 2 of their new infantry units are going into the eastern United States. Their new destroyer is going into the eastern United States. And way over here in San Francisco, 1 of their new infantry units is being placed there. 2 tactical bombers. Whoops. 2 tactical bombers. Come on. And 1 fighter. That's going to be placed in western United States. In terms of China, they have 1 infantry to add to the stack. Oh no, they're not adding it to Kansu, sorry. My bad. They are adding it to Xikang to make it a little bit harder for the Japanese to take. Okay, so since we're on China, we'll do their income. They are going to add 2 IPCs. So if we adjust the chart, the Chinese go from 1 to 3, and the Japanese go from 50 to 48. Okay. So the Chinese are going to collect $3 this turn. They saved $2 last turn, so they will put $5 into their treasury. The Americans, because they lost the Philippines, only collect 50 IPCs this turn as a base, but they do get, now that they are at war, they do get a series of national objectives. They get 10 IPCs for building at least 2 units in the eastern and western United States. And then they get 5 IPCs for controlling all of the Central American territories, like Mexico and all that stuff. and they get 5 IPCs for all of their islands and territories like that. So they're going to collect $70 in total to put into their treasury for the next turn. So that's a pretty good income right there. So let's do disposition of forces. Oops, sorry. Disposition of forces in the in the eastern United States. They have a fighter, 4 infantry, 3 mechanized infantry, 1 tank, and 2 anti-aircraft. In C-Zone 101, 2 destroyers, 1 cruiser, and 1 transport ship. In the western United States, there are 2 tactical bombers, 1 fighter, 2 infantry, and 2 infantry and 2 anti-aircraft artillery. In Hawaii, 2 infantry and a strategic bomber that is currently in air transport. C-Zone 16, 2 submarines, and then this mess here in C-Zone 7. What we have are 3 fully loaded carriers, 2 of which have 2 fighters each, and 1 of which has a fighter and a tactical bomber. We have a battleship, 2 cruisers, 3 destroyers, and 6 fully loaded transports. 1 of them has 2 infantry, 1 of them has an infantry and a tank. 3 of them have infantry and artillery, and 1 of them has an infantry and a mech infantry. And they are sitting off the coast of Japan, looking very, very menacing. So we'll see what transpires with those in the turn to come. In terms of China, China has now 3 infantry in Suiyuan, 3 infantry in Shenxi, 4 infantry in Kansu, 1 volunteer fighter in Kansu, and then 1 infantry in Xikang. So that is the Chinese and American turn. The UK is up next.